at least in the speedrunning scene, but nowadays he has retired to the greener pastures of ROM hacking.
Still turning the world on its head, though, as we can clearly see from this tremendous move forward for Fusion speedrunning here.
I believe that it was his new editor that may have been used to create Metroid Spooky Mission, actually, which is a hack being ran in this marathon.
Ooh.
I could be wrong. There was an older Metroid Zero Mission editor, but you only really started seeing a lot of Zero Mission hacks recently with BioSpark's new editor.
Yeah, but we don't want to keep you guys in suspense for too long. What say we get this show on the road?
Alright, so we don't want to assume too much that you guys know what's going on, because some of you guys might not have caught the first Fusion Any Percent ran by the legendary Mickey Now. So we're going to go over some basic mechanics as we get going with the run.
Well, first things first, it's good to note that if you've been watching a lot of the other Fusion things, we're actually running this one on English. That's because English is the earliest version of the game, which has the out of bounds that is required to do memory corruption, so we can't use Japanese, despite the fact it has faster text.
Ooh boy, does it have faster text.
Oh yeah. Also, this is the only category of Fusion that actually uses RTA for the leaderboards instead of in-game time, because the memory corruption also screws the in-game timer.
Alright, looks like Scotty is getting going. So the first thing we're going to see here is going to be a pretty involved little series of jumps and wall jumps known as the climb. It's actually one of the more like runner-specific parts of the run, because there's a bunch of different ways to do this room, depending on the speed that you want to do it, and a very clean one right there from our good man.
Yeah, it's one of the most complex series of wall jumps in the entire run, and Scotty's showing off the fastest route there. And we seem to do a lot of very tight, precise movements here. One of the things about Fusion is even before the corruption, since you have to go through the game in a very specific order up to that point, a lot of the time save comes from clean movement. So taking advantage of knowing when to climb versus when to jump on top of the platform, knowing when to wall jump versus when to just use the platforms is a big part of saving time in this run.
Mm-hmm. One thing you're going to notice is that a lot of the time when he's spin jumping around these rooms, he'll be shooting right as he gets to the top of the platform. He does that to kind of snap down onto the platform, because Samus, when she shoots in the air, will break out of her spin jump, and her standing falling animation is taller, so she'll just immediately be able to run on the platform. So you'll see him using that movement in a lot, especially in the early game.
Yep, that term, you might hear us colloquially refer to it as a shot cancel. It's much easier to say than a couple sentences. Mm-hmm. And Scotty already going to start moving his way through the main deck. This section is going to be just a lot of very tight wall jumps, a lot of climbs. But you're also going to see him just go from navigation to navigation room at the beginning. Unfortunately, the game does have a bad habit of info dumping, so we're going to see another one of those right here in a moment. Right here, right now.
I think you might be a little ahead of me.
Oh. Well, let me reload here to make sure that everything is on the up and up.
And now I can't see anything. That's good.
Oh, it's back. It's back. Okay.
Alright, so he is able to get the jump through the door. That is a little bit tricky to get sometimes. There's a specific timing.
Alright, and also this is the first game to introduce the character of Adam, who has become one of the most popular memes in the entirety of Metroid, thanks to Other M.
I mean, he used to not suck.
Yeah, he used to be a brain in a computer, spoiler alert. But here we grab the very first power-up of the game, the missiles, and one that remains important throughout, just because Core X's, which are at the end of every major boss fight, cannot be damaged by the beam.
Specifically about it, we'll be trying to get doubles on the Core X's. That is when you hit two missiles on one of these Core X's that spawn on the same frame. This is an important trick, and it changes throughout the entire run, because every time that Samus upgrades her missiles, they change how quickly you can fire. So the setups become increasingly more like manipulating of the Core X to make them work so that you can still get a double on them.
Yeah, thankfully the big secret to why they actually work is that the core X's are round, but their hitbox is a square. You're essentially forcing a square to fly sideways into 2 missiles at the same time. It is kind of a cool trick, though, just because it's one of those things that there's no super clean setup for it. Everyone who does it a little bit differently. Some folks do it higher, some folks do it lower, some folks like setting up in different ways, but everyone's got a way of doing it.
All right, now ready up your bless RNGs, because welcome to iDoors.
Oh, baby, here we go. Oh, Scotty, 3 beams already.
3 beams already?
Oh, I was hoping for the 4 beam. And he gets the double missile on the door, though. That's a bit of a complex trick there, but it manages to save him a lot of time.
I don't know if you were watching the any percent from the other day with Mickey. He got 7 beams because he missed his doubles.
Oh, gosh. I did catch it. That was... And here we go, Arachnus. Another jerk face of a boss. With any luck, he finishes it off without any rolls.
That is perfect.
And here comes a double. There we go. Just like that.
Didn't quite get the sweet spot, though. So there's a lot of little idiosyncrasies with the core X's, and we already explained doubles. Another thing with them is sweet spots. If you destroy them exactly over where the power-up will spawn when the big core X inside of the little shell stops moving around, they will instantly spawn in place rather than having to wait for it to, like, intangibly move around the room. And that can save a lot of time over the course of the run. Like, it's a couple of seconds of time save every time it happens.
Yeah, and even in a single fight, getting multiple double missiles and sweet spot can save the better part of 10 seconds depending on how many missiles the core takes.
So the X have invaded the breeding environment, so we're going to be heading down to SRX, which is the... SRX is Sector 1. It's the other name for it. It is the
SR-388.
area of SR-388. Is he picking up these missiles? No, he's not.
He's not. Now, one thing. Normally in any percent, you'll grab either 40 or 45 missiles, depending on how you do it. In this one, since he doesn't have to go through the entire game, Scotty will only be getting 25 missiles. So he already has 20. He'll be grabbing one more missile tank along the way. I'm actually not 100% sure which one he grabs. I was expecting him to grab the main deck tank, but he didn't.
Say hello to the SAX.
Who has no respect for doors. What a prick.
If only your super missiles could do that.
I've tried. All they do is open the door, because even Samus's missiles are more polite.
Do you know? I don't think he'll be doing it. He's not going to go for SAX skip, is he?
No. No.
I'm pretty sure that Ross made that illegal for marathons.
I mean, if there's anyone who I could count, anyone who could do it, and I could actually feel more who has a chance of doing it, it's Scotty. But that said, I think Scotty also, doesn't want to push his luck too much.
Interesting little random anecdote that I noticed during Mickey's run is that Samus in the background of here, even if you have the speed boost, your Shine Spark charged when you're standing on the thing, will not show it in this image, which means that that's actually just a blank image overlaid on the back of the room rather than displaying an overlay.
It would have to be a partial one, though, because the screens are still animated, so I wonder. Alright, but here we are, Sector 1. The big deal here is making sure that your missile count stays high, especially since Scotty only has 20, so he wants to keep his health at full to make sure he gets guaranteed green X drops.
Yeah, the big thing with green X is that they are incredibly unreliable if you don't have yellow X spawn most of the time.
Oof.
Yeah, unfortunately, he tried to do the fast strat for that room and it didn't quite work out.
He's still doing okay on missile count, as long as he doesn't take any more hits and maybe stops to grab a green X or two. He's leaving it up to luck, but he should still be fine.
How many pirates?
And
1, 2, 3. That's pretty good RNG.
The last one tried to football tackle, but he was too fast.
Just to be clear, that wall has a slight RNG in how many pirates get spawned on it when you first enter the room, and you can get up to 5. 5 is really unlucky.
Oh, 2 greens. He's good now.
Thank God.
And he has full health as well, so even if you didn't have enough missiles, the vertical climb in the next room would give him the greens he needs. So he's in good shape.
Oh, apparently Ross says that if they want to try, they're allowed to do the SAX as long as they save. So maybe we'll see the SAX skip.
Possibly. Unfortunately, stopping to save loses you all the time you would gain by doing the skip, so...
Me and Den were really caught off guard on Mickey's run when he got 2 red X's off one of the pirates here.
It's always a surprise when it happens. It's happened to me in run attempts, and I started yelling at my screen.
Oh, you can't save because it'll mess up the corruption.
That too, yeah.
Okay, this eye door is very hard to get doubles on. You have to position yourself super accurately.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no!
Not to mention, every time you have to jump over a beam, you can't just drop straight down or you'll fall. You have to actually tap left just a little bit, but Scotty gets it. And now the charge core here. He has a very interesting setup involving a horizontal double here. And he gets the first one.
Nice.
And God, it's so good.
That was
so
smooth.
Good.
Yeah, that was the first successful sweet spot. The way that all of the beam upgrades in this game work is they all have their own little variant of that kind of Core X boss. And they get increasingly more dangerous until the Ice Beam, which can take off like multiple tanks in a single hit.
Yes, indeed. Although we will only be seeing 2 of them. Alright, Scotty just has 1 more stabilizer to take care of here in Sector 1. And then he'll be on his way out.
Ooh, smooth movement in that room right there.
Scotty's movement is tremendously good. And he goes for the Kadoom strat. Again, that's super smooth.
Does Kadoom still run on GameCube controller now?
Kadoom hasn't run this game in a long time, I don't think.
Rest in peace. I haven't been around the speedrunning scene in a while.
No, but his name lives on through a couple of really cool strats for rooms.
I've never really been sure what those little amoebas are supposed to be. They look like the weird baby of a Metroid and a specific enemy from SR388, because I'm a Metroid 2 runner. So I'm familiar with the bestiary, and they look like an... Wait, oh, he is saving?
This is important. This save is actually necessary for the corruption to work. That specific save when entering the room from the right.
Okay.
So it's not just that room, but it's also when he does it.
Interesting.
Because it turns out the corruption will act... Where the corruption drops you at the end will depend on where you save, and that one gives you the best location.
Okay.
We'll talk about that more once he actually does the important part of the corruption. Don't worry, folks, it's worth it.
So next we're going to be heading to Sector 2, the jungle section Tro. We're going to be going to get the bombs. We're also going to encounter our first security rooms. Instead of going the normal Metroid route where your weapons will unlock doors for you, in keeping with its more linear nature, Fusion has specific security rooms you have to get to, which will open up specific colored doors.
Does OSHA know about this? Because I'm pretty sure having to like jump off walls in order to unlock the doors to do your job is not exactly good workplace safety.
You're gonna see him being pretty careful here because the red 0 enemies will do a ton of damage. I think at least 45, if not more, now.
It's I want to say 40. It's a good chunk.
I'm curious if Scotty's gonna say hi to Julio. I finally remembered the thing's name.
Well, I'm honestly not sure, but I will say he will say hello to disappointment once he gets the bombs.
Oh, most certainly. The bombs are pretty much useless. They function only for what they're supposed to function, and then that makes them lame. Because usually bombs are the thing that lets you crack a Metroid game open.
Yeah, there's exactly one spot where they're useful for doing something wacky, and that's only in 100%, which you saw earlier in this run, which is a single bomb jump.
He did say hi to Julio. I'm happy.
Alright, Scotty making his way through his room cleanly. The Zoros are nasty. The annoying thing about them is if you kill the ones at the first part of the room, they will respawn in a way that blocks you in the second half of the room, so you have to skip the first 3.
I hate real smooth movement.
Yes.
All right, so we didn't really point it out on the way there. On the way back, I want to point out he's going to be curving a missile, so he can hit 2 missiles on a 0 to keep moving through the room. He kills the first one with a charge shot, and then he's going to be shooting 2 missiles. Whenever Samus shoots a missile while running, it'll kind of curve with her, so it keeps in a relatively consistent spot on her screen, on the screen. And you can use that for a couple of different tricks throughout the run.
Yeah, and doing that is very important here because we didn't mention this before, but running is the fastest way to move horizontally, which sounds kind of obvious, but when you jump, it's a lot slower. So if you can shoot an enemy and keep running rather than stop to jump over it, it saves time.
Yeah, that's pretty similar to my game, Metroid 2. In my game, you don't want to jump that is incredibly slow. It's like half of your normal movement speed.
Yeah, thankfully it's not that bad in Fusion, but it still adds up if you do a lot of it.
Yeah,
Also,
as you can see, the bombs take forever.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you also can't drop them early to try to blow up the blocks because their blast radius is pitifully small. Sorry, pitifully small. Yeah.
Yeah, and the worst part about them is it's not even like they're just slow. Even if one hits you in the air, you're not gonna really get any height off of it. Like, there's no special timing to IBJ or anything like that. It's just completely impossible.
Yeah.
I've always felt like the feedback they got from this game really pushed them into why Zero Mission is such a speedrunner-friendly game.
Oh, absolutely. Zero Mission is literally all the refinements of Fusion over Super Metroid with all the changes that people wanted them to make. All right, Scotty's making his way here to Zazabi, everyone's favorite boss of random time wasting.
Yeah. Task can wall jump. Task can bomb jump, and they can also single wall jump.
Oh, interesting. So Scotty, normally in a any percent no memory corruption run, you'll see Scotty grab 4 E-tanks, but since this is a much shorter run, he usually only grabs 1, but I guess he's grabbing a second one for safety today.
Alright, so this is another one of the major RNG things. We can kill Idors in 1 shot now that we have the charge beam, but this thing is cool.
Yeah, that was
2 jumps.
Yep. You can get a maximum of 12 extra jumps. He's doing okay so far.
4, 5, 6.
6
okay,
jumps.
That's not bad.
Not too bad.
Mickey got really bad. It jumped like only once each time on the first 2 phases, then it jumped like 5 times on the last phase.
Oh, it's the worst. 4 missiles here, so 2 doubles sends the core packing, and that was such a clean core fight.
So now we have high jump and jump ball. This is the first game where spring ball is packaged with the high jump, and that is important because you don't have any sort of good bomb jumping. So it helps you move a lot faster.
Yeah, being able to jump in a ball is very useful, and having the game give it to you this early is very nice. All right, now it's time for the first encounter with the first face-to-face encounter with the sacks here. There is a way to skip it, but it involves morphing into a ball very specifically and jumping over the sacks. Messing it up is certain death. Scotty's not going for it, and I absolutely cannot blame him.
The SAX is simultaneously terrifying and incredibly stupid.
Yeah. The thing about it, though, is when you first learn this game, you realize, oh, its AI is awful, and then you stop fearing it, and then you mess up once and it murders you anyway, and then you start to fear it again. The sax is no joke. Even when you get really good at this game, if you take it lightly, it can and will just wreck you.
Just immediately end your run.
Scotty.
Wait, excuse me?
You're going for that bonus out of bound trick. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you.
That's a new one. Okay, then.
Oh, that one's so cool. That one's a really hard one to get, too. We got it first try.
Why don't they do that in normal why don't they do that in normal any percent? That seems a lot faster.
Oh, the thing is that most folks prefer to run on Japanese because of the time save, because of the text. And when you do it, if you do English at all, which not many of us do, That's actually the hardest one to get and the one that saves the least time, because that one you have to like unmorph and push a direction at the same time. It's not as easy as the other ones where you can actually kill the enemy you're standing on. That one you have to do a fast unmorph.
It's interesting how like both Zero Mission and Fusion kind of have slowly been finally getting cracked. Because for the longest time, neither of them had any sort of real out of bounds or anything like that, which is unlike a lot of games in the Metroidvania style. Like, if you look at like the Metroidvania style Castlevanias, they are shattered to pieces.
Yeah.
Like, I run maximum any percent. My personal best in that category is like a 51 seconds.
Yeah, the thing is, even with out of bounds having been discovered and being explored a lot, mainly by Scotty this year, I mean, there's 2, maybe 3 out of bounds that'll actually save you any significant amount of time in a non-memory corruption category. So it's still not like it's a massive game-breaking thing.
Ross, that would be amazing, but unfortunately, it's a meme.
Yeah.
Early power bombs are a meme dream.
I mean, you can get them early. You won't live to get them, but you can reach them.
Yeah, it is possible. And then the only thing that is zipping is useful for in Fusion is getting down to the bottom left of Ridley's lair. Cool little ice zip.
I'm going to make a little bit of a note here about Sector 4. So one of the other things that Scotty has to do for memory corruption is there are 12 specific blocks he has to break in Sector 4 for the memory corruption to work. Now, turns out that 6 of them you actually break along the way normally just by doing the route. I'm sorry, 4 of them. But this pillar right here, he's bombing. He has to break all 6 blocks. Normally, you'd only break 2 or 3, but he has to break all 6 for the corruption to work.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one will be after the upcoming Ceres fight, and I'll point him out when he does it.
All right. Just for full disclosure, I have never seen memory corruption myself. I'm just helping out because I know how to commentate Fusion 90% normally. So
And
this is going to be a fun mystery for me too.
Oh, you're gonna love it.
Now we get no gravity suit water physics, everyone's favorite.
Oh boy. And it's actually fun because it's actually possible to do single wall jumps when you're underwater, but it's essentially destroying your hand in the process.
All right, so next boss is going to be Ceres. Should be a pretty easy fight as long as everything goes well. I don't know. I don't think we explained this before, but when you use the charge beam in this game, it's by far the best it was in any Metroid game.
Yeah.
There is the hitbox of the beam, but there's also this circular flash that happens when she first shoots it, and that is essentially a melee attack. And so when you double stack them on Ceres, oh, he is getting a bad pattern.
He's dancing. Oh no! He didn't hit it with the flare that time, so he's going to take a 3rd round.
Yeah. And if you hit Ceres with this charge shot and the flare, oh god, it juked him. This is a rough Ceres fight.
He'll be fine. What? Oh no!
He must have missed the flare on the 1st round too.
Oh gosh, that's unfortunate. 4 round. Yeah, normally if you use missiles, which is what most folks will do casually, it takes 5 rounds. But the thing is, both parts of the beam and the flare, when fully charged, do nearly as much damage as 3 missiles. There we go. Put the beast to bed. Takes two doubles and a single to beat up the core. First double, second double. Now let's see if we can get that sweet spot.
Okay,
Ooh,
thank God.
So good. So strong finish despite a very rough start in middle. So.
All right, so there's going to be a little trick we're going to show here, where Samus can force herself to Shine Spark in an area where she normally couldn't rise up enough, where you just mash A as fast as possible.
Yes. Speed Booster is one of the most fun items in the game, and now it's time to prepare for the next important thing he has to do. Over here, there are 2 missile blocks. He has to break them both. That's it. Now you can leave. That's the last of the blocks. With that, he has broken all the blocks necessary to set up for memory corruption.
All right. But he still has to get the power rounds to do it.
Yes.
All right. Another little curved missile strat there, running across the room to shoot that enemy. So there's going to be another trick that we're hoping to see here, which is going to be a low-height Shine Spark coming back from dropping the water level in this area.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty challenging, but if he can get it, it saves him some time with setting up another speed booster. So first he has to charge a Shine Spark on this, then he's either going to Shine Spark to the right or Shine Spark diagonally through the little things there.
Yeah, he goes to the right. It's a bit faster just to go to the right than diagonally. And here we go. He's got about a 4-frame window to do this unmorph, and oh no!
Well,
he was a little bit too far to the right in the earlier room, and unfortunately did not get the speed for it.
Such is life. Alright.
Not gonna let it get him down. It's gonna keep right on cruising.
Alright. So I don't think we're gonna see it anywhere else in the run because of the memory corruption, but that is the first instance in Fusion of having to wait for an X to reform into something else in the room. Actually, we'll see it one other time because ice missiles are before power bombs.
Yes.
But it's almost a little puzzle that the game makes you figure out, where you have to kill an enemy and let it reform into different things to get through a room.
Yeah, but that is the only gold enemy we'll be seeing, though.
Which is too bad, because the other gold enemy has a pretty funny glitch.
Yeah, it does. Well, that's less a glitch and more just kind of exploiting the way it's programmed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a golden pirate that you can spawn, and it's supposed to be designed in such a way that it only takes damage from behind, but it only checks to see if it and Samus are facing the same direction, so all you do is shoot at it and turn around.
I mean, I guess it's one of those things where it makes sense when you stop and think about it, because you're not really expecting someone to shoot and then immediately just turn their back to the dangerous enemy, but yet here we are. Alright, time for Sector 3. This sector's got some hot, spicy tech in it.
We're not going to any hot rooms, though.
We're not. That's okay.
Hot rooms are kind of annoying. Alright. So there's going to be another security room here. He's going to be unlocking green doors. He's going to try and charge a Shine Spark when he's running to the right here at the start of the area. There's like a 1 or 2 frame window to charge a Shine Spark as he's dropping through some speed booster blocks, and if he gets it, he can just Shine Spark to the left and save some time.
I don't think he usually goes for it. I've never actually seen him go for it. He might. The big problem with that one is that if you crouch a little bit too early, you'll actually not break that last block and just have to go the long way around. And here we go, a little bit of a horizontal Shine Spark, just showing off how useful the speed booster is. Thankfully, no longer does damage like it did in Super Metroid.
Yeah, that was one of the best changes to the way that the speed booster functioned. Like, it was kind of interesting, and it sort of made sense in Super, as it was supposed to be like this high commitment secret technique, but at the same time they were able to do so much more interesting and cool things with it because they chose to compromise on their original idea for the Shine Spark.
Yeah, it actually becomes an integral part of Samus's move. Oh, and Scotty getting the Shine Break, crouching before he breaks through the block in order to maintain that charge, letting him Shine Spark up through that shaft.
Everyone say hi to Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Bob is not important for this category, really, but it was a huge obstacle in Fusion speedrunning for a very long time. You guys saw JRP do Metroid Fusion 0% the other day, and where he did a clip to get past Bob, but for the longest time, the only way to get past that missile tank was a incredibly complex series of very quick jumps to keep a Shine Charge all the way up through one of the earlier rooms to break through a barrier.
Oh, Scotty getting Data Spark! Very nice. That is an extremely, extremely tight trick. And there's no time to rest, because Scotty's about to go face off against Box, and if anyone who missed his earlier run, Scotty has a very unique strat for fighting Box here. We're going to see it.
Excuse me?
Yes!
Alright then.
It's definitely more dangerous because you spend time inside Box's hitbox, which hurts a fair bit. You saw how much damage he took. But since he doesn't have to walk back across the room to jump through the ceiling, it's faster. I've tried learning it. It is actually a very challenging strat to get it consistently.
Yeah, that's a new Box strat. I've never seen that before.
The best thing about it is even if you get it slightly suboptimally, it's still generally faster than the normal strat. So if you can at least get it, if your health is high and you're at least semi-consistent at it, there's no reason not to try it. I wish more folks did it. It's a really cool strat.
It's too bad we won't get to fight Microsoft this run, though.
No Xbox today.
He almost sparked right.
Yeah, which is funny. This game has made choosing your Shine Spark direction a lot easier and more forgiving than Super Metroid. There's a lot fewer group sparks, but it still happens more than any of us care to admit. But first, we interrupt this game for a betrayal.
Da-na-na-na-na.
We now return to your regularly scheduled speedrun.
One thing that's interesting about Fusion's story is that it almost acts like, not to sound like, what's the word I'm looking for? Not to sound ostentatious or like, pretentious is the word I'm looking for. But it's almost like it's almost like a Greek tragedy because there's a fair amount of stuff going on that we know about that Samus doesn't, which is one of the hallmarks of that genre.
I suppose so. Well, I will say that the unfortunate thing is that the ending of this game does kind of leave you on a bit of a what's going to happen next cliffhanger, and it's been about 16 years. Yeah,
we're still waiting for Metroid 5. I mean, it seems like the series is coming back, so maybe we will finally get our answer sometime soon.
I can hope. Although the problem is, I think they're kind of, I think for some reason they're kind of afraid of coming back to the fusion suit. It feels like because they keep sticking to eras of time where Samus is in her more, distinctive, more famous Varia suit. All right, now Scott making his way through the dark nocturnal sector. By dark, I mean purple and not very dark at all.
It's implied that we shouldn't be able to see much, but they didn't want to actually make the gameplay too annoying. So there is a little circle of light around Samus, but the gimmick of this area, just to let you guys know, is those blue X. They came over from the frozen sector. They really gorged themselves on ice cream, and so they're a little cold, and they're trying to give Samus some brain freeze.
Hit a little bit too much of that blue Kool-Aid.
Oh, did he miss it? Oh no, he got it. Cool.
Scotty opting to get a third E-Tank. I'm a little bit surprised, actually. I would have expected him to go for that E-Tank and skip the one before Zazabi, but I guess he's just playing it extra safe. Because yeah, we jokingly call that E-Tank. You just grabbed the free E-Tank because if you pick it up and then the bomb explodes while the text box is up, it costs you exactly 0 seconds to pick it up.
Yeah, like a couple of frames.
And no! Scotty!
Why did you do this?
Because he tried. I've never seen him mess up his usual strat, but he still pulled it off. He had a good backup. Nicely done, Scotty.
I don't know why he jumped so early.
That's how he does it. He actually jumps over the sacks and then manages to bounce over its shots in order to not have to wait for it to jump over him instead.
That's a pretty groovy strat to get past the sacks.
It is.
Oh, even Scotty freaked out about it for a second.
Well, yeah, because the Sax is dangerous. At this point, Ice Beam does 2 E-Tanks of damage.
So we've got the Mega Core X fight happening right now. He's just jumping inside of it past its little satellite Core X's. Now, this is the first time when you have to change the timing on your doubles, because Super Missiles have a different timing.
Oh gosh, he did not stop to grab the red X at the door, so he actually ran out of missiles. But he still managed to get 3 doubles.
Triples. That would be an interesting thing to see.
The game is so mad at me for getting it wrong, it's going to show me this ugly, ugly suit. Ugh.
Now, a funny little thing. I think we're still going to see it, because I think you get at least one monologue when you rescue the animals. But, yeah. So, 2 things. 1, these guys, for this first room here, don't figure out that you can grab them until they actually start running into you, which is a funny little bit of, like, gameplay storytelling.
Yes.
But, pay attention to the colors of the Varia suit right now. It is a puke green and orange combination. But when Samus is riding the elevator doing her monologue, it turns into puke green and purple.
I mean, I heard you say that earlier, but people have said that. I've never noticed that. Like right now, you look at it now, it's that yellow and that like weird hot pink, which is the same color that shows up. To me. I guess it might depend on the screen and just quality of video. Since Scotty's tend to be a little bit blurrier, so the colors blend together a little bit.
Yeah, I've always thought it looks orange personally, but maybe that's just a me thing. I've had people.
You're not the only one to say it. So, I mean, maybe it's my eyes that are failing. I think it's just this. The suit is so ugly that nobody's brains can agree on what colors it actually is.
Yeah, I know it's lime and purple in the cutscene. Alright, so now we're gonna go get ice missiles.
Regrettably. I mean, they're cool mechanically, but the problem is that the super missiles are so darned useful, and the ice missiles make it so you can no longer use them to one-shot enemies.
Yeah, it's a pain. Like they are they make sense in the story because you're not able to get the ice beam right now because you're a Metroid, but in terms of gameplay, they're a pain.
Yeah.
Because they slow down your strats for areas dramatically. Thankfully, you get the wide beam shortly after, which makes up for it for the most part, since the charge beam is so good. But it's still not as fun as it could be.
Yeah, that's actually a big part of why the beam is is the most useful weapon throughout this run.
Yeah, if you look at it when she's riding down right now, it really looks orange to me. See? They agree with me.
I mean, I still don't see it, but okay.
Alright, so you're not going to see it this first time that we do this, but there are some cool speed booster strats that you can do, but unfortunately we have to have the yellow doors unlocked first, so that's something that we're going to be doing on this first trip to Sector 5. Oh, well, he missed that enemy a couple of times.
Whoops. Yeah, before he does it, he has to go unlock the doors, because the data room is blocked by yellow doors.
Now, let's hope that Scotty remembers his routing, because every once in a while, you will have that runner who has a bit of a brain fart, goes and unlocks yellow doors, and then tries to leave. Because they think that's all that they were supposed to do.
I can't believe you're calling out Scotty like this.
I just call it how I see it, man.
For anyone who's not aware what Ken is talking about there, during our last Fusion tournament, Scotty was in the finals, did that, which is what we affectionately refer to as pulling a secret key, and he actually tried to leave Sector 5 without grabbing the ice missiles and had to turn around and go all the way back, which put him a fair bit behind his opponent, and he still came back and won.
I actually didn't know that story. I wasn't trying to call out Scotty specifically. Now, but the question is Scotty a true swag master? Is he going to go for the Jagger G reverse ice missiles?
Did you not see it? He did it earlier.
Did he?
He did. I don't know if he'll do it again, but dang.
Please do it. I know I missed that. Oh, no.
Oh, he's going for it again. He's going for it.
Let's go. Please. Scotty, please. For the memes. Oh.
Oh.
No.
Oh.
Is he gonna go for it again?
I think once is enough. I don't want. Let's be reasonable. But still.
I'm not saying he should. I'm just asking if he will. Okay, no, he's not gonna.
Oh.
Okay, so just to let you guys know how that works real quick. It's the same glitch that I mentioned earlier coming into Sector 3 about how you can break a block and for like 1 or 2 frames, Samus can crouch as she's landing from a speed booster, but it's even harder to do in that room because when Samus is speed boosting, and only when she's speed boosting, she can run through those Kago enemies. And so you generally pause buffer it and you try to land on the ground and get that Shine Spark charge, and then you can just Shine Spark up the room to get to ice missiles, and I think it saves like a few seconds. I don't think it saves a ton of time.
It really doesn't. And the thing is, especially if you have to do a lot of pause buffers, it's a lot less worth it, but...
It's mostly a meme, but it's a very, very cool meme if they're able to hit it.
Yeah, it is one of the things that we classically refer to in the community as Jagger strats.
God bless Jagger.
Absolutely.
I'm glad I got to talk to him again. We co-commentated Other M together.
Nice.
Jagger G is the original meme lord of Metroid Fusion.
He's one of the reasons I actually started running GBA Metroid. But yeah, and now thankfully we have the big screen shaking indicator that you are done with Sector 5 this visit is there in the background. Don't worry about it, we'll never actually see him. Before we do anything else, I think chat needs to help us out on this one.
Oh, D-Fang says that it saves a single second to get reverse ice. Frankly, that is the perfect amount of time save, and I couldn't be happier.
It's perfect.
Alright, guys, so it is time. Emergency.
Chat, show us your Frankersies.
And, of course, out of respect, rest in peace, Frankerzy. Everyone salute.
Yeah. Sector 3 has been officially renamed Sector 3 FRZ, the Frankerzy Memorial Sector.
Emergency in JRP, that's a good one.
Oh, but Emergency is a fun little section. The timer gives you way too much time, so that's not really the problem. The thing is, the game wants you to use your ice missiles. Oh boy, does it want you to use your ice missiles.
And we say no. Ice missiles suck. That is what we say.
Yeah, but we still have to use them, though, and Scotty's missile count is actually pretty low.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
So he's going to have to be mindful of that.
Because he's going to use, what, 4 of them just coming down the shaft?
He might not, actually. He might opt to skip, though, because you can skip this part and then just opt to... Yeah,
okay,
that's what I figured. Because you need to freeze the stretchies later. You don't need to kill the stretchies there.
Mm-hmm. So we might see him use a mechanic that's not used super often called R shooting here. I guess not. If you hit the R button to activate missiles while Samus is charging a beam, this only works in Fusion. She will fire the beam. This is also important for space boosting, because you can shoot to open doors without breaking your spin jump.
Yeah, he should be fine on missiles. Yeah, looks good.
Ooh, he got bonked by the stretchy. Both runners have hit that stretchy. Mickey hit that too in his any %.
Oh,
they are just... It's a little rough.
Yeah, a little bit slower through that room means that fire enemy is further to the left, but he should be fine. He needs exactly 3 missiles to get this enemy in position, just like that. Now I can use the charge beam on the door.
Still one beam, not bad.
Very good door time still. Now he has missiles that he needs to try to get 2 doubles on this score.
Yeah, ice missile doubles are again a slightly different timing than super missile doubles.
Perfect.
Nice and smooth.
That should be I want to say 3:31 time for the end of emergency. Yep.
4:31.
Yep, that's what I meant. Numbers
3:41 would not be a very good emergency.
You know what I'm.
we might have to have a talk with Scotty if he got a 3:41 emergency.
Oh, good. Okay, you know what? I haven't slept in like way too many hours.
I understand. I almost was passing out for most of Other M when I was commentating it.
Biospark, Emergency, and Frankerzy, I don't think will ever die as long as this game continues to be run.
The runners love it too much. It's too much of an OG meme.
Alright, Sky just has to make his way out of Sector 3 now. We're going to see a really fun movement strat here in this vertical shaft as he climbs his way out.
Ooh, he got hit. Uh-oh. Ooh. Oh, man. Oh, he just phased right through it. That was funny looking.
Doing a slightly different step than the one I'm used to seeing, but still pulling it off. Took a lot of damage, though. Those stretchies are no joke. They do a fair bit of damage.
Yeah, those are the Namiheis, the upgraded Funes. You get an interesting combination of SR-388 and Zeb as life on the BSL station.
Yeah. Alright, Scotty finishing up Sector 3 here, so now it's time to go back up. To the main deck.
And we are going to find out why the animals are canon. And deal with the most annoying RNG time loss in the entirety of Metroid Fusion.
I don't know, man. Those first 2 eye doors.
Yeah, but I mean, at least you can mitigate those with doubles. Like, this is entirely out of your control. Like, no matter how good of a pace you're on, the animals can just decide they don't want to come out of their play area and just hang out there for a while.
I mean, if you show up at the wrong time, one of the animals might be in the bathroom, and who are you just to force them to rush that? That's just kind of inconsiderate.
I'm curious to see which strat he's going to use for climbing up the room before that, though, because Mickey used a strat that I actually wasn't super familiar with. I'm used to seeing the jump extend strat.
Yeah, that's the most common one, but Scotty, I'm pretty sure, does impossible strat.
I think that may have been the one that Mickey used as well. Interesting little anecdote. That little barrier core X you just saw to the right there is where you can technically get early power bombs. Unfortunately, because of event flags, they don't function.
Yeah, I remember now. Mickey did a variation on impossible strat. You're going to see Scotty do the fastest version.
Ooh, that was really nice. I haven't seen the full version before.
It is a very cool strat. And Scotty has a very consistent setup for it as well. Oh,
No, I think he got terrible animal RNG.
Possibly, we'll find out in a moment.
There was no wind spark.
Oh, I just saw all 3 Hedakuns run past. Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. Where are they?
There they are.
Oh man.
Not the worst luck I've seen, but that was still slower than he wanted to see, I'm sure.
Everyone, give poor Scotty an oof.
Alright, so guess what, folks? Scotty is now on his way to Sector 5, and this is going to be the final sector of the run. Because this is the visit to get power bombs, and once he has the power bombs, he has everything he needs to finally put the memory corruption into motion. And here we have the computer letting you know that everybody's dead. Reminds you a little bit of Red Dwarf, but not nearly as endearing. And thankfully we're going to also be seeing some of those cool Shine Spark strats in Sector 5 that Kento was mentioning.
Alright. I believe this is the part of the run, once he gets power bombs, where I'll be taking a backseat, because I'm going to be as confused as you guys are.
Honestly, the real specifics of it are pretty confusing, but thankfully I've managed to kind of trim it down to a Clip Notes version that hits the major points.
Do you want to start explaining it now, or do you want to wait till he actually gets going with it?
We have time once it gets going.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how long it was going to take.
The setup, once he actually gets to that point, the setup takes a minute, so...
Alright, well, as a last little ditch effort of me being relevant in this run, he's going to be going for a Shine Spark setup. He has a pretty tight window on it. He has to get through the yellow door at the bottom of that room, and I believe shoot either a charge shot or a missile to the door on the other side before he sparks across the whole room. I think he got it? Yep, he did. And then he should be able to just go right into a wall jump from there. Yep.
Thankfully, he does not have to do an extra lap here. He just can go straight into the data room and get himself those power bombs.
Yeah, it's actually pretty funny. Even the game knows how fed up you're getting with like the completely linear structure at this point. It literally just tells you, you know where to go, do it. And then in a normal fusion run, this would be where things start to get off the rails a little bit. You would go back up the elevator, you would go and find out that the power had gone out, and it's where like it starts feeling like Samus has a little more agency. It's still all linear, but it's not so controlled, at least.
Yep. Instead, Scotty needs to get back into that large room right before the data room. So he's going to do this part of Sector 5 normally, climb back up. But once he gets to that big room, everything changes.
Oh, he had a SAS lent him a hand. SAS opened the door.
How thoughtful. Doing this climb again. There's actually an alternate strat for this room, another Kadoom strat, but it's actually about the same speed as this one, so Scotty prefers just to do the same strat twice.
Now this, he's trying to get speed right there. He can't have it coming through the door, or he'll bonk on that, he'll bonk on the tile. He'll bonk on the gate, I'm sorry. I can't speak.
Alright, now here we go, folks. First thing he's got to do is he has to get this Ripper to crash into the wall directly above the door, so he might opt to reset the room since he got a bad position. We'll see what he does. And then, I think he's got it. Okay, once it's frozen, he drops a power bomb, and if he's on top of that frozen enemy, when it dies, crouching, holding left, he goes clip out of bounds. Now he's going to start going diagonally like mad. He's going to keep going this until he's way, way out far beyond the bounds of the game. You're going to see him drop a power bomb right there. At this point, he's already actually in other parts of the game's memory, so that first power bomb actually changes the location of where he's saved. So he's saved in Sector 1, but it's actually going to place his new save location in the hallway right after the ship, where the game starts. After a few more seconds, he's going to drop a second power bomb. This is the one. This is the one that causes the actual memory corruption. This one actually changes the event flag, moving it from where it is now all the way to a number so high that it is actually equivalent to the one that kills the final Omega Metroid boss. That's it. He's done the corruption. All he has to do now is get back in bounds and kill himself. He will respawn in that hallway, and then he has to do a couple of more things, and you'll just see what happens.
Now this feels like familiar territory. I was talking about running around out of bounds in a Castlevania game.
Yeah, that's exactly dropping those power bombs where he does affects memory values, and everything else he's done up until now has been to make sure that the values are where he wants them to be, so that the bombs do what he expects.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to pop out here in a moment, and once he does, he's going to die, and if everything goes correctly, you'll see him spawn in a broken hallway.
That was funny. He just spawned in on a bomb block. That's not supposed to be there.
Yep, that's part of the stuff that happens. So give it a moment here. Once he reloads, you'll see the effect.
Yeah, fusion is good for damage or for killing yourself and warping,
Perfect.
I suppose.
All right, now here's the thing. He has to run to the right in order to activate the final Omega boss fight, but he can't just go fight it because the SAX has not been fought. So he has to actually run back to the left, back into this vertical shaft in order to properly be able to trigger the Omega Metroid dying. Now he runs back to the right, back in this other room, and you will hear the Omega's death screams, just like this. And there we go. The Omega's dead. Now he just has to wait for the ship to fly in, which it'll fly in right about through this wall in a moment.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it's just loaded in the background layer and it just comes in wherever you are?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's
there
pretty
it is.
great. What's up?
And just like that, Scotty is done.
All right.
Turning a run that's well over an hour into a 51-minute showcase of what is anything. This is what that fateful day in April has given us. And here he is, the legend himself, Scotty.
Hi guys.
How you doing, man?
That run, that was interesting.
All right, we got some time. We're gonna be doing a little interview with this here man, cause he kind of overestimated for his run.
A little bit.
That was completely accidental. That was supposed to be the estimate for the any percent run that I submitted without memory corruption.
Wait, are you actually serious?
Yes, I am actually serious.
That's amazing. That's amazing. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
So, judging by your tone, Scotty, it sounds like you're not super duper happy with how this run turned out.
Well, if anyone happened to see that Saris fight, they would probably understand how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple runners in the chat may have talked about disowning you.
There's a distinct possibility.
And I'm just, a little tired at 2:30 in the morning. So my movement wasn't exactly up to par.
I sure do love coffee.
But still, 5148 is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, shoot. A year ago, a time like this for any sort of fusion run would have been considered just an absolute ludicrous proposition.
They would have literally laughed. They would have literally just laughed at you, be like, "You are literally out of your mind."
51? You mean in-game time?
Oh my goodness.
So I'm curious, does the memory corruption affect the end screen at all? Does it like freak out?
It'll lower the IGT by a lot. I'd say it's probably a 7, but it could be a 6.
The IGT in the Game Boy Advance games is usually pretty reliable. The IGT in Metroid 2 is not.
Yeah, Metroid IGT is something else.
Do you actually know all of the terrible things about it?
Oh, yeah. I know.
It just skips
pretty
minutes.
bad.
Yeah.
Well, it also drops the seconds anytime you load a save.
Yeah. I mean, Fusion's IGT is actually pretty darn reliable. I think Zero Missions is close, but there's one specific thing about it that makes it so that we had to switch to RTA because you could exploit it, and that would have made speedrunning that game an absolute chore.
Mm-hmm. Stuff like pausing on the zip lines.
Yeah,
I was around for that.
Bomb explosions.
I was around for that whole fiasco. Oh, Biospark brings up a fair point.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that we're corrupting the thing. It's just that that's where the save is from.
Yep.
Yeah, I know Defangs. The Metroid 2 timer is special. We pat it on its head and send it on its way. We've had world record runs that were 2 minutes slower in-game than the previous world record.
Quality.
Which does also mean, because you can reliably pause on the frame where it'll increment the minute, and it just won't increment the minute. And so it's possible in a task run to finish a run with an in-game time of 0-0 without even doing any sort of corruption to the game.
You can do that here if you save at the ship at the very start instead of in Sector 1. You would have, instead of respawning in the destroyed hallway, I would have respawned right at the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have just run left, run right, and then have finished the game with a time of 0 minutes.
What makes that not viable, out of curiosity?
It's a little bit slower because it's not on the way like the save in Sector 1 is.
You can't.
Plus, you have to watch a little bit of a cutscene. Well, if you re-enter the ship, you have to talk to Adam.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Who wants to do that?
Not me, that's for sure.
So, how does it feel to be the first person to kind of present this to the speedrunning community at large? Because, like we were saying, this hasn't really been showcased in any events before, which is a lot of times how, like, word on the street gets out about these things beyond just, like, the small community of people who actually actively run the specific game.
It was pretty cool. I liked seeing people's reactions to it. Just, it was nice to see a lot of people getting introduced to it for the first time and being excited about it.
Yeah, it was certainly fun to see. Like I said, I feel a little, I can relate to it, because I speedrun a fair amount of Castlevania games too, so it's not too crazy to me to see the character just freaking out and spasming across the screen like a crazy person.
Yeah, well, the out-of-bounds movement is very predictable. You can do the same thing every time. Know exactly where you are.
That's important. Like, in some games, you have to do all kinds of crazy movements out of bounds, and they can get scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just looking at Super Metroid's out-of-bounds runs is like, you have to really navigate it. Here, it's just press left, press right, lay bombs.
In Maximum Any Percent, which is the Castlevania run I've done the most, there's multiple like 3 to 1 pixel windows you have to hit with a dive kick while you're floating around on the outside of a room.
Yeah, this is not nearly as precise. You only have to know where to place the power bomb within, I think it's 30 frames, something like that.
Out of curiosity, were you one of the people to find this?
No, I was definitely not. This is all credited to Biospark.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Because I was wondering, I know that Zero Mission also added in their first zip strat, though not quite as dramatic as this, and I think that was a little further in the past. So I was curious if like
No.
if I was curious if the Zero Mission strat had anything to do with the discovery of this strat, because it's a similar setup to where you have to destroy a frozen enemy.
No, it is not related at all. The ice clip in Zero Mission has been known for a couple years at this point, while this clip itself has only been known for a couple of months. And the things that it does in the memory is very different. That wasn't what I meant to say. It doesn't do anything to memory itself. It just flips you in different ways. In Fusion, destroying a frozen enemy on the English version will pop you up like half or a quarter of a block and put you just far enough to clip into the ceiling. While in Zero Mission, you have to be on 2 frozen enemies in order to clip to the spawn point of those enemies.
Uh-huh. By the way, for anyone curious about more in-depth explanations, if you're not paying attention to chat, Biospark just posted a video explaining the out-of-bounds glitch for Fusion in more depth. Just wanted to make sure I pointed that out before that got scrolled off the screen for everyone.
It is a very cool video.
Mm-hmm. Very good explanation. I don't know how much more we have to say. I think.
I mean,
Next
I
run
feel
is
that run
hopefully
pretty much
getting
speaks for
ready.
itself. Yeah.
Let me just hit up Ross real quick.
We're a little bit ahead of schedule.
Looks like he's talking to everybody. So the next run should be ready to go here in a little bit. So Scotty, I have to wonder, and I remember that in your actual world record run, you were you didn't have the best Sector 5. Are you actually planning to push this one down any further, or are you just kind of going to only?
No, I don't think so. My RNG in the world record is pretty insane.
That brings up a good discussion point that I wanted to point out, is that it's really interesting how RNG can affect like your perception of a run. Like, you have a game like Metroid 2 where literally 2 enemies in the whole game have RNG, and it's very friendly to runners, it's very easy to get a PB. And then you have games like Fusion where you have these RNG gates which tell you you must be this high to get a PB.
I mean, I suppose to a point. I mean, you can still get a really good time even with bad RNG. You're just not going to be. You're not going to be pushing a 45 unless you'll get at least some cooperation from the game.
Mm-hmm. That's still just crazy for me to hear coming from, like, the last time I speedran Fusion actively, there was like 3 people with a 46. I think it was like Kadoom, JRP, and Biospark.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have 4 people with 45s and
several people with 7s and 6s.
Yeah,
it's really cool to see a speed game grow. I love it. If any of you guys are interested in learning more about this, there is a Metroid Fusion Discord. There's a lot of information in there helpful runners, which can help you learn how to play the games. We're always happy to grow the Metroid speedrunning community. It's a real friendly group of runners. There's a lot of crossover between the different 2D Metroid games, especially the GBA Vanias. Like, the 2 GBA Vanias might as well have this... Vanias. That's my... The 2 GBA Metroids have almost the same community twice. Like, there's so much crossover between those two games, but even then, there's a lot of people who speedrun Super, some of us who run Metroid 2, NES Troid. It's really cool to see, like, all these communities, like, working together and thriving.
And there's a serious case of meme overlap as well.
Oh, most certainly. I was talking the other day about how I need to start coming up with more names for enemies in Metroid 2 because everyone else is doing it. I want to be part of the cool kids.
Well, unfortunately for you and I, the coolest kid in this room right now is definitely Scotty. So we have a lot of work to do to catch up to.
Oh,
sure.
you.
Oh yeah, randos. There's a lot of randomizers running around the Metroid community now. I want to say there's NES Troid randomizer, Super Metroid, Zero Mission randomizer. I don't think there's any sort of fusion randomizer. That'd be a little too messy to try and play with.
Some folks want to make one, but it's still definitely going to take a little bit more doing to be able to...
Not for a while.
Yeah, not for a while.
There's a lot of things you have to play with before you can make fusion a viable randomizer game. Yeah. I think definitely the most interesting randomizer running around right now, though, is the Super Metroid / Link to the Past randomizer. That thing is so crazy to see.
It is really nuts.
Like, it's absolute nonsense. You're picking up, like, freaking, like, Butter Sword on, like, a Chozo statue, finding the Morph Ball in, like, Link's uncle's house.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for us, though. It looks like all the setup is ready for the next race, so we hope that all y'all are ready for some Super Metroid item rando, because that's coming up right now.
Y'all have a great day.